McCullough.
Welcome back. It's Kevin McCullough, Times Square. So grateful to have you with us. We thought maybe we had won a battle in this war, but will men still be in your daughter's locker rooms come next school year? May Mailman is with the Independent Women's Law Center, and that's one of the things that she takes on with her new op-ed for Fox News. May, they're not going anywhere. The other side's not going to put down throw up their hands and say, okay, we lost. In fact, they're trying to say that they didn't lose, and they're trying to say it wasn't a blowout. You've got some advice for the incoming administration on what needs to be tangibly done on day one. Where do we start?
Yeah, so let's just start with women's sports. So I think day one, you have the Department of Education, has the Office of Civil Rights. In the Biden administration has been making sure that men are included in women's locker rooms, women's bathrooms. But the Trump administration, I think, should launch a very high profile investigation over, I would say, San Jose State University, which has continued to allow a male to be on the volleyball team, even though other teams are being forced to quit because other girls are scared for their safety. So yeah, I don't think that the Trump administration should allow women to continue to be scared of their safety. Step two, obviously, not only just take down Biden's Title IX regulation, and not just revert to Trump 1.0, but create a new regulation that says that women are allowed to have women's sports. So Trump 1.0, you didn't even feel like you had to say it, but now you have to say that there have to be some single-sex opportunities on campus. It doesn't have to be, you can have some co-ed, that's fine, but you have to have enough women's opportunities, locker rooms, sports opportunities. And I would say three, the NCAA is going to come begging for favors because they've got all sorts of NIL problems. They need legislation. They've got antitrust concerns. And before you even think about helping the NCAA out, the NCAA needs to change its policies to protect women's sports.
And this is all stuff that can be done through just executive pressure in the early days. Does any of this require legislation?
No, none of this would require legislation. But I would say if you wanted to, President Trump has also said that he wants to define male and female in federal law. And I know that there are already bills introduced to this effect. Independent Women's Forum has helped to shape a lot of those bills. And so you would say that in federal law, when you see the word sex, that means sex. That does not mean gender identity. And when you and it means male and female, that sex is binary. So I do think that you could add protections by putting in federal law, just definitions, things you wouldn't need to know if you were a normal society. Well,
you basically go back and you rebuild the argument the way they deconstructed it. So they wanted to water down definitions. You just make them more fine-tuned and more precise. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the Biden Title IX changes get overturned already? Wasn't there a judge that already weighed in on that?
So yes, and so I think there's going to be a decision about what to do with that litigation. So there are, I think at this point, 9 different cases making their way through the courts that have led to injunctions in 26 of the states. Of course, the blue states are supporting the Biden Title IX rule. So they're governed by it, but they would have done that anyway. They didn't need to be asked to put men in women's sports. So this is a fight that's coming to the Supreme Court. So there's a question of, do you continue to fight it and let the Supreme Court rule against you, the Trump administration, and solidify that win? Or do you say, I'm not going to fight this anymore and let a blue state come in and fight on behalf of the rule? So there will be some of those decisions. Lawyers smarter than me are gonna make the call.
Into your crystal ball. This goes to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I would say so, because even if the Trump administration were to say, I'm not going to fight it anymore, I'm going to rescind the rule, you can't rescind the rule overnight. So I think that litigation still would probably move forward, and blue state would probably try to defend it.
Well, and as I'm thinking about this, how can you have bathrooms in department stores that are nationwide? How can you have San Jose State playing, University of Utah or somebody like that, cross state lines, cross jurisdictions, and not have some sort of defined? But who would have thought in 2025 that we're going to have to tell people that this is a man and this is a woman? Like, it's just a little bit to me, but that's the day in which we live. And we are doing so largely because the Independent Women's Forum is standing there fighting. May give me a 30-second commercial for why people should follow your organization, get involved, start a chapter in their local neighborhood. Give us the elevator pitch.
Yeah, so Independent Women's Forum harnesses the power of stories. The reason that we're having this conversation today is because you know who Riley Gaines is. And if we get them on TV, get them on the radio, put documentaries together. And so if you're interested in harnessing that power of storytelling, then learn about Independent Women's Forum at IWF.org and watch our videos at IWFeatures.com.
Yeah, good stuff.
Stick around for more of That Kevin. Next, That Kevin Show with Kevin McCullough.